Hello. I got Broo from Floyds. This is their like wet hop beer. I don't believe it's all wet hops, but they did say it's from a farm in Indiana, where Floyds is. Indiana hops are not common. Um, and this is bottled quite recently. Did I wipe off the bottling date? I think it said the 6th of September, and now it's the 27th or 28th, so it's about 3 weeks in the bottle. 7%, I think. Does it even say that? I'm pretty sure it's 7%. And last year is pretty bitter and intense. It's my first beer that's touched wet hops I've had this year. In fact, we used to get more out in New England. Now you don't see them as often. And Lagunitas stopped doing Born yesterday. They did something called Contents Under Fresher that was more expensive and not as good. But let's see how this one is. So there are some floating little particulates in the bottle, little tiny ones. Super old-fashioned looking. You might not be able to see them on the camera. But it's not really hazy. It's just a bunch of particulates that you can see. It doesn't have a I don't know what you call it, perfect consistent haze or whatever. And let's just sniff this. Doesn't smell that scary right now. It does have that perfumey quality that I think is kind of the hallmark of wet hops. And there's a little bit of a stinky floral thing. A little bit of like a toasty, I don't know if it's a Munich malt or whatever in there, or very, very light on the crystal. Nice looking head, but it just smells like a blast from the past. A little bit of sweet candy stuff. Maybe it's a little too cold. And I just like very sweet candy, citrus. Maybe in there too. And just a toasty, slightly resinous thing that really reminds me of IPA 10 years ago. Maybe some kind of green chlorophyll type thing. Not too much though. Much more potent on the palate. And maybe it was just a little too cold, but that's pretty good. But I feel like there's some kind of sweet Munich toastiness or some kind of sweeter malt that's just kind of like distracting to me a little bit. Almost. Maybe it's also combined with older fashioned resinous hops. Like sometimes Centennial, the sappiness of that makes it seem to me like the beer's maltier. They don't say what kind of hops they use in here, but I'm sure it's all American varieties. Pretty full mouthfeel, probably 7%. And a good bitterness is building up. But just kind of a blast from the past beer, honestly. I guess Zombie Dust and the other old IPAs from Floyds are even, darker and maltier. There's a little bit, I guess it's got definitely a lemon, lime, bitter orange, grapefruit. That's kind of the fruitiness you're getting. I'm not getting tropical stuff. I think on their Instagram maybe they mentioned tropical. I don't know about that. I think everyone just feels like they have to say that about their IPAs. Pretty nice lacing for me. And I have to say I do like the mouthfeel. It's almost like full and silky. But this almost reminds me of, Pliny the Elder type stuff. That sort of style. That one might be a little bit more caramel malt sticky. Oh, there's some weird toastiness in here. Because you can see it's pretty darn pale. Could be paler. I mean, it's not Pilsner type paleness. but there are very, very, very few beers out there that are like this. Um, Especially ones you can find fresh. Beers like this just sit on the shelves and get old. um, it's pretty good. It's got a nice brisk bitterness, but it's not too much. Um, Pretty good. This would have been my jam 10 years ago. Hmm. The only thing is, I guess there's a little bit, develops kind of a pine sol type thing, like lemon lime pine, but a little bit of a cleaning, sort of like, I don't know if it's phenolic. It's just like the booziness and the way these hops are working. Just a little bit, not sharp, but just medicinal. I guess that's what happens with so many beers. This one has that, and it's definitely warming up the throat. But I don't really know if I'm getting the special wet hop qualities out of this one like I have other beers like Born Yesterday when they used to do it. Maybe they'll bring it back, probably not. And other brewers. But if you want a blast from the past, kind of West Coast IPA that's a little bit less malt and bitterness and stickiness forward, it's a little bit more citrusy, I guess, but still very, very West Coast. For a rating, maybe a 4, not quite a 4, a little under. That's it. Bye.